I wouldn't be surprised to see it go 4 or 5 games. That's for sure. I mean, no one doubts that Version 1's capable of taking games off of G2. It's just a matter of actually winning the whole thing is another matter entirely. And Chicago, JNAPS, and Atomic don't have time to mess around. They like to qualify and move towards Saturday as quickly as possible.
Well, let's see how fast they can do it as we get into our series best of 5 in round 2 for day 1 of the Fall Cup. As V1 and G2 faced off against each other. We talk about physical play from both teams. I'm sure you'll start seeing that pretty early on, just to set that dominance. Weird touch, but it turns into a great pinch for G2 to make sure V1 doesn't gain any momentum on that orange half.
What you're really looking for is how many people G2 are able to bring forward when they get on offense. Because if they start getting 3 people, 2 people consistently camped out over on that blue side of the field, that's when they're really going to start to crack that Version 1 defense. You start getting 1 with somebody coming in from the midfield line, that attack's going to be a little bit too slow, and Version 1's defense is going to have the tools to figure it out. But if it starts getting crazy, G2's going to do their best work. Calm little slider. It's actually going to find its way in the net. I thought for sure Atomic was going to pull that one out.
No, you're right. It looked like he was there. JNAPS was on the ground too, right in the way. Yeah, just sneaked in there. Great placement. I love that goal explosion.
I didn't realize Atomic had no boost that whole time. I went back and looked at how he did it. It's like, okay, I guess he had to kind of pick a lane and hope. But with boost, I think he gets there.
But he didn't. And it's a goal now for V1. G2 will have to try to find an equalizer off this kickoff. They're losing control of that midfield slowly but surely as V1 starts to make a push towards that half beast mode. Floating around in the air, trying to get Neki. That gets shut down pretty fast from G2. They're sitting on defense, waiting for an attack here. JNAPS will be the one to take it away. All 3 defenders were waiting to see what beast mode would do. And all the way down the other field, both players mind-gaming each other. Torment looking for a dunk.
Just a really weird communication error on the G2 side of things. They all found themselves on the same line pretty much on the pitch. And they're like, wait, we have no field coverage, and they all just ran away, and they have to reset their attack here. As a result, tough missed touch from Chicago. Would have liked to see him be able to build pressure off that, but had to take a few extra times to reset themselves here.
Atomic does his best just to keep the play alive. It bought enough time for his teammates to get boost. That'll be a shot.
Oh, wow.
50 out of the way, but it doesn't matter. A finisher comes in from JNAPS.
And you see the difference there. I mean, JNAPS has Chicago in the box, ready to go, and this time they get the dunk where the clear is happening rather than after it's come to him and meeting him at the midfield line. G2 gets that pressure forward. They're able to sit on the box, make the reads, hit the blocks, and maybe a fortunate bounce that comes right back to him.
Attack off kickoff here from Torment. He gets the 50. Ooh. A demo from Calm just to make sure that goal is secured.
Hello, Torment. Didn't even need the boost in the midfield. Just a little bit of mind games. Go up what looked pretty aggressive, and JNAPS, I think, had the right idea. Get on top of it, make sure that he can't get towards the backboard, but didn't read Torment's speed perfectly and went a little too far.
Just past the halfway mark, V1 regains the lead. With a nice team goal there. Both players on the offense working together to put that in the back of the net. Great touch from the defense there. Look at JNAPS now trying to get physical on the goal line as they look for that tying goal.
Love that. Clear from Calm with authority out of the half. Say, nope, go back to the drawing board. You're going to have to starve us somewhere to make sure you have enough pieces as Calm throws another one towards the corner.
They're still on offense, though, keeping it low. That might be a chance JNAPS could wrap himself around the car nice enough with low boost. He ends up losing a 50. That ball trailing blue down into the orange end. Ooh, a miss there. Forces JNAPS up beast mode. Almost able to pounce on that.
Okay.
Recovery on defense here for V1.
Big chance. You need to get this block, and you love combat. How about this? Up to JNAPS off the ceiling. Here comes Chicago, and he's going to slam it off the wall to himself. Way to piece it together. The vision from Atomic, not scared. Don't get it, J-Naps.
Beautiful touch off the ceiling. I love to see players utilize that. It gets so confusing for the defenders down on the ground. And a fortunate touch off that corner bounce to the back of the net, tied up, 1 minute left.
Yeah, Chicago not going to be happy with the finish job. The result is good, but he knows that the first through attempt probably should have just been on target instead of off the wall, but you get it done.
Atomic looks to shut down V1 in the corner here before they can make any kind of threatening approach. They managed to hold him to the corner so far. V1 backing off now. Bispo trying to buy as much time to get them back to midfield. He does his job properly as Calm. He's able to shut down G2's push down into their end. Final 30 seconds on the board. J-Naps with Atomic, but Atomic stays grounded. Chicago finds it on the right side. That pinch coming out center in favor of G2.
Okay.
I think Torment had the touch out, but he doesn't. Finally, V1 makes that push past both teams. Looking for that control right now in the final seconds to end it in regulation in front of the net. Could have been an awkward situation for V1, but they hold it together, and we might be looking at overtime achieves.
Great start. I think version 1, I think it's fair to say that they probably should have won this one because it was two fortunate kicks off the post straight back into a G2 offense that netted themselves a goal. But you can't get too hung up on that one. Version 1 doing a great job moving the ball horizontally on their half of the pitch and forcing G2 to spread themselves out and make tough blocks if they want to stay on offense. And that's really the defensive key for version 1 is the ability to move the ball in your own half towards safety rather than straight at that G2 midfield line where you allow that pressure to build.
V1 trying to find a formation down the other end, and they lost it. They get a chance for G2 to take a shot. J-Nap's a little far from that infield pass. Calm can intercept. There's beast mode waiting for J-Naps to drop this one low. There, he gets up quick. Atomic just as fast. Shuts down any solo play beast mode may have had there. Minute into overtime. Both players taken to the skies around midfield.
Okay, there's a boost steal. Now you win this block, and G2's got a lot to work with, but beast mode. Goodness gracious. Great idea. Go for the pinch, force it back to the other side of the pitch. Atomic with a few wall dashes and another boost steal, and G2 knows that's where they got to go to kind of hamstring this attack. Calm denied by Chicago.
Almost. Beautiful solo play there. Unfortunately for Calm, he had two defenders to end up dealing with. He had the one. G2 just holding on here as we approach that second minute of overtime. Chicago trying to get cheeky with a touch towards the net.
There's the crush.
But Torment does get a boost, and that'll help them hold and maybe even push here.
Just trying to squeeze in that version 1 box and get it as crowded as possible, and maybe someone makes a mistake or a missed touch, and G2 knows they're circling right now.
Atomic again to the corner. J-Naps to follow up. Atomic is going to leave that. It was way too far to reach. Beast mode with enough boost to be annoying here. That's a shot from G2. Torment gets up, but with no boost, this could be a chance for G2 if they can get control of this. Oh, the touch up front, but no one with a chance to take the shot there. Atomic didn't want to get too close in case that got sent out.
It's like watching, you go watch those nature documentaries and it's like, here's the predator. Like G2's like coming at him like, don't mess up. And V1's trying everything in the book to just weasel and squirm away from them and get to safety.
3 minutes now of overtime in game 1. Guess we picked the right featured match. It's V1 and G2 putting on a show for us. Back and forth. Great touch out there. J-Naps is going to have a nice little power shot. They're going to take it.
can only live so long. Today, the stamina war is won by G2. They will not be outlasted by the version 1 defense in game 1, at least. That was quite a lot of work for G2, but they're okay with that. They don't care how long it takes, as long as they come out on top. I mean, they crushed him in terms of general pressure, camped out over on that blue side of the map for so long. Very well played game.
Great across the board, but G2 takes the victory over version 1. And I'm wondering now, I'm going to bring him in, Gibbs, if the rest of the scene is as exciting or close as this one.
I feel bad, though, for V1 because 2 post bounces were the first goals for G2. That hurts. That hurts. But some underdogs. I'll update some early round action here. Ghost versus Shopify. 1-0 to Ghost there. And unfortunately for Leaf, Furia versus Space Station. You almost picked Furia.
I should have.
You didn't, but Furia is up 1-0 while Dignitas is beating 26 Ryzen. And
oh man, I am going
Complexity. That is also an upset right now. Complexity, they're up 1-0 so far. It's early goings though, but those are your underdog matches so far in game 1.
We'll find out if game 2 achieves, ends up going as long as our first one. Close series. What do you think is that extra edge then that the V1's going to need if they want to bring that in their favor this time?
Oh boy, it's so tough. Again, I did like whenever you saw it in game 1, whenever they got to move that ball horizontally away from wherever that midfield defender is camped out, like here from Tormund, it's straight off the ceiling and goes straight forward. That gets him nowhere. If he's able to get that out to the opposite corner, then there's space to work with and an opportunity to clear the ball. And that's really where version 1 can get out of their own half and give themselves a look down on the other side.
V1 feeling pressured from G2 right now. They're just rotating shots at the net. Nothing to show for it, but
you can't go right at it.
Still at least some early pressure control from G2. Now V1 at the midfield. Let's see if they can set something up here. Chicago quickly jumping on that. Says, nope, let's not give them the space. Right thing to do. Beast mode falling short on boost. Does manage at least to make a defender jump for that. Atomic now without boost. See if that is detrimental to the defense of G2. So far, they're doing all right.
I like to see Atomic not afraid to just come in barreling from the midfield line as fast as he can to smash it off his own backboard, because he's like, that's the optimal play. And it's like, there are times when that's definitely a good play, but it could have just as easily put his teammates in a real bad spot if he mistouched it. So I like to realize be confident in a player like that who knows what needs to happen and can execute it on both sides of the ball.
2 touches from Atomic. Go straight into a defender on V1. Still scoreless 2 minutes in. Chicago with push out, but V1 ready for that. Oh, I'm trying to draw an attacker, and he does.
He missed the touch, and that just builds the pressure because it's like, okay, great job. You faked one out. That's what you need to happen, but the follow-up is what matters, and JNabs misses a chance to put one on target. Maybe he let it go. Maybe he missed it. Either way, G2 unable to find the net.
Look at the bumps coming out for G2, though. Taking defenders out of the net. Atomic gets the touch he needs. That last 50 with the bump coming up beforehand set it up.
And you love the recognition from Atomic on the wall. I mean, he has options there, right? He can try and rip it towards the backboard to try and beat the defense that's caught flat-footed. He can try and air dribble it off there. He can do a lot of different things, but he notices the biggest one that matters is how much space opened up with that physicality as Beast Mode trying to replicate it. Atomic wants a second redirect. He's going to come up empty, and it's going to fake Torment out. The only way you beat the defensive master is to just not hit it.
Bang. Hey, we saw Calm with a fake before. No follow-up. All you need is the fake on this one. You don't need a follow-up. That's just dropping straight into the net. G2 with the lead at the halfway mark of game 2. Looking good for them as they already have a game in the series against V1.
It all also helps the Torment only had like 20 boosts when they went up for that, so he would have needed a lot more to feel a lot more confident with it, so took his best guess. But what can you do?
Ooh, beast mode. We're going for a lot of those solo plays, and I think that's the closest he's probably gotten. We'll try another, just at least having someone there to challenge Chicago.
Oh, gosh.
High touch.
Atomic's just not shy. It's like, I think he knew he was beat, but it's just the raw speed at which he plays the game, right? I mean, he went straight up that corner, instantly jumped off, because he was like, if you want to beat me, you got to clear it over this way. And him doing that, like, even though he knows if it gets cleared that way, he's not going to win, it forces Version 1 to touch that ball where he thinks it needs to go. And he's right. And that makes it so easy for J-Naps in Chicago to play it behind him, because they're like, oh, the ball has to go here.
So you're saying he's pretty good.
He's a genius.
Hey, well, what they're doing is working right now. Final minute of gameplay in game 2. Still no goals. Whoa. 4v1.
Wait, what? The fact Chicago even had a second look at that amazes me. That's a big double commit from G2.
No punish. 3-1 will have to put everything into offense now, but the result could end up in situations like that. It doesn't go in the net, well, until now.
There's a little bit of hiccup here between Beast Mode, I believe, and Torment, who should be in control of that ball as it goes up the side. And honestly, I don't know if it really would have mattered. Chicago is out there waiting for whoever tried to take that one up the wall. Unfortunately for them, the recovery not in time, all the way to the back post. Game 2, a wash for Version 1. Even less efficacy of getting out of their own half, and that's the adjustment that the G2 made here. They recognized, look, V1's trying to move that ball left and right on their own half to spread us out and make the adjustment. Now they go sit over there and say, now you got to go straight through us or make an awkward, weak touch to your back shoulder and maybe not be able to get back to it before Speed Demon Atomic comes out of nowhere and puts it back in the mix.
A much less convincing performance from V1 here, or just a more convincing performance from G2 as they take the game 3-0 with not much of a threat from their opponents. That puts them at match point now at Chiefs.
Complete game from G2 there in second game, in the second 5-minute stint, I will say. So well played to them. And Version 1, again, it's not like they're doing anything wrong. It's kind of like you watch a chess game and you read it with the chess engine and it's like, okay, G2 is making the first or second like suggested move, and like Version 1's making like the third and fourth moves. Like they're all good. It's just G2's a little bit more precise.
Yeah. Speaking of doing nothing wrong, I'm back. Hey, what's up, guys? Score updates real quick. Complexity over Gen G right now, 2-0. So upset in the making there. And Furia as well, 2-0 versus Space Station. So South American teams are putting up some numbers right now.
Today.
They're trying to get 2 of them into the 2-0 round. FaZe is up 2-0 as well. And then obviously we see G2 up 2-0. The Ghost series that we talked about earlier versus Rebellion was 1-0 Ghost. It's 1-1 now. And there's probably a score update at this point. Yep, 2-1 now for Rebellion. So right now, not a lot of underdogs outside of those 2 SAM teams.
Oh, it sets up the cruelty, though. Imagine the 2-0 round where the SAM teams have to play each other. That's the ultimate cruelty.
But exciting.
I don't know if it works out that way. I don't know. I've learned today that there's math.
Like, I'll let you know at the end of this. Like, if it does happen, I'll let you know, because I know how it works.
All right, Chiefs coming into game 3 with a match point for G2. Do we see the sweep on V1, or is there a bounce back?
Right now, it feels like sweep G2. I mean, without seeing some big adjustment from V1, I don't see how it can go any other way. There's just too much coverage and pressure from G2 for me to feel good any other way. There's a way out. certainly. It's like, obviously it requires, big mechanical outplay and the right amount of speed, because you can't just go at G2. Like I said, they've got a big problem in Atomic, who's so good at throwing a wrench into everything. And to top that off, you got JNAPS back there, and he rotates back, and Chicago, an absolute menace at the midfield. It's like they're pretty stiff defensively on that G2 side. It's not like it's just free if you finally break the shell on your own half. Still got a lot of work to do back on the other end.
It does feel like every time play starts to develop for V1, there's a G2 player there to mess it up in some way or another. The first minute and a half gone by. If it is a sweep, G2 hasn't played their cards yet. We still sit scoreless for both teams. Potential here.
Like, thinking about it, your biggest X factor on V1's beast mode, right? Like, obviously Calm, a great physical player and opens up a lot of doors, but in terms of the scoring and making a big play, everyone looks at beast mode as he tries to sauce one over to Calm, who's pre-jumping. That's the type of inspired play you need to get out of your own half. Love to see the attempt from V1. There we go.
You're right, though. It feels like every other second I see beast mode in the slot, air dribbling, trying to go for a mechie play. But I do like to see, as you said before, trying to look for his teammates across the field sometimes. Get a little bit of that mix-up in.
You got to outspeed him, and that's no easy task when they're all camped out so well. As, Atomic just off the crossbar. So close to slotting in the first one. You wouldn't live to fight another day.
Barring out, JNAPS, plenty of time over in the corner there to do what he wanted with that ball. Can't get a setup, but G2 definitely looking like they got the space they need to do what they need to do. As they leave a little room now for V1 as they try to make a push out.
Okay.
Comes in, but low boost. He might get another touch. He does. Beast mode was there for the shot. Well, there was a G2 defender there for the save, and no one's going to get back in time. I think Atomic might have been boxing Calm out.
Yeah, absolutely. Calm trying to race all the way back. He needs that corner boost, and Atomic knows it. Just gives him a big... Actually, I don't know if he really boxed him out so much as he hip maneuvered him pretty much as he tried to go across the net and really just kicked his nose straight in towards his own goal and couldn't ever get up there in a clean line to save the ball. Kickoff shot denied by Torment.
Torment, the old faithful in net, trying to prevent a second goal from G2. Back pass there just to maintain control. JNAPS gets the touch, but he can't move it out. Will require the help of Atomic as they dive down into the blue end to try to set up for another attack. Atomic, again, that physical player we mentioned before the game, the series started, doing exactly that. As they do look for that second goal, the cushion, to make sure if V1 does get one, they still maintain the lead.
And now you start to see a little bit of that V1 desperation diving coming out. Like, okay, we're going to start jumping from behind people that are air dribbling to really try and mess up their approach and see if we can open up a gap in the midfield that way by making them have an awkward touch or a really weird approach on a hit or something like that. That's kind of the new approach from V1 because they know they just can't sit there on defense anymore. They have to do something.
Final 30 seconds now. V1 still staring down a potential sweep here from G2 if they can't find that equalizer. Torment will try to get things started as he brings it past midfield. Beast mode a little bit behind, and G2 moves it back down into the V1 defense. And with low boost, they're losing chances. They almost had one, but JNAPS always with a great rotation back. 3 seconds left. They'll have to have a 0-second goal chance. Beast mode. He's going to take the shot. JNAPS clears that one out. Calm. He'll get another chance, but it just out of reach. V1 did their darndest, but they could not come through.
Calm just no boost on that last opportunity. Yeah, it popped off the bar, but he was never going to have a look at it. And that's kind of what you're talking about. You know, there's a lot of work to do once you finally get through the midfield line. And well played to G2, genuinely. Like, that's a complete series. Not a bad showing from V1 at all, but that was locked tight.
I don't know, Chiefs. I'm going to disagree a bit because V1 didn't score for about 15 minutes there.
Yeah, I know.
The end of that series. So G2 obviously playing fantastic, but V1, we